where it was at. We love the devil rock. Hell yeah, in demon roll. You heathens, it's undeniable. Why don't you try a little? Let lose control. Let us your soul. Some say it was the devil that made us do just what we do. But man, in your facts, straight, that ain't true. Let me tell you, it was the zoo. Evil coursing through my veins, rings from the underworld tattooed on my brain. Straight from the boombox to trigger the doomsday. Like my therapy and talk to the insane. We love the devil rock. Hell yeah, in demon roll. You heathens, it's undeniable. Why don't you try a little? Let lose control. Let us your soul. The devil rock. Hell yeah, in demon roll. You heathens, it's undeniable. Why don't you try a little? Let lose control. Let us your soul.
Oh, that's good stuff. Oh, I didn't mean to talk over the end of it there. That's good stuff. That is Devil Rock, and that is Inverter. I think he's on the phone line, on the studio line with us. Deek, are you there?
Yeah, what's up, man? How you doing?
Hey, man, I love that track. We have Deek from Inverter here on the phone with us. And, yeah, should I go ahead and disconnect you from Skype?
Yeah, that'd be fine.
Better?
Yeah, I can hear you. It's weird because the connection on both isn't so great. I think I live in some like Bermuda Triangle-like spot in Massachusetts. Who knows?
Who knows? Yeah, you never know with Skype. It's hit or miss. It's better than it used to be, but it still will fail us at times, as technology can often do. But I'm glad to have you here, man. I love this. I love this band, Inverter. You sent us a few tracks, and we're gonna play some more a little bit later. I'll play another one at the end of our discussion. But great stuff. Very, very catchy, but heavy. You know, it's catchy and heavy, which isn't something that everybody can pull off. But really, really good.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, someone recently called us dance metal. I'm like, I don't know if it's true, but that's cool. And one thing we find is every time we play, the chicks are always moving up front. Which I'll take any day, because we always try to kind of have that groove element to things as opposed to blast beats and all that stuff, which we love too, but it's just not what we do.
Yeah, I totally get that. Dance metal, I like that. I wouldn't have thought of that term, but that completely makes sense. And very cool. You guys are you all from the Boston area?
Yes, correct. Yeah, Boston area. And strangely, we all, every single member of the band at one point in time was affiliated with the former radio station WBCN out of Boston, 104.1.
Yeah, we were talking
many moons ago.
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. And, I'm a radio nerd, and I vividly remember WBCN. Although I can't remember the name of there's a documentary that came out a few years ago, right, about WBCN?
Yeah, there is. There was a book that came out. I made it in like I was like the later guard of BCN. I'm in like 4 pages of the book, maybe.
Yeah.
But it's more about like I didn't even grow up in the Boston area, so it's about like the 70s era of BCN, the heyday. And there was a documentary, and to be honest, I have not seen it, even though I worked there for 7 years. I'm ashamed to say.
No, I'm with you. I haven't seen it either.
That'll be on my list, my Netflix rentals or whatever.
There you go. No, like I said, I haven't seen it yet either, and I'm a radio nerd, so I definitely need to see it. But I've heard really good things. You're getting some love in the Facebook live chat, by the way. Legion of Solace says Inverter is a great high-energy live show. That doesn't surprise me. And
we love the Legion, so thank you.
Oh, very nice, very nice. And Jay Bello from the band Chasing the Devil is also in the chat room and said "rock" with multiple exclamation points. So I think he digs what you're doing as well.
Thank you, Jay.
Yeah, can you kind of fill us in on the? I was reading your bio. I'd love to hear you kind of take us through the origin story of the band, because it's a little bit unconventional, and plus you throw in the piece where you've all worked at WBCN once upon a time. So can you kind of fill us in, Deek, about how the band got started?
Well, yeah, I didn't start at BCN. That's more a coincidence. And I guess, it's a small, in the world of rock or the scene, be it New England or locally in Boston, it's all, it's a small scene.
Yeah.
So, like our drummer Jeff used to be in the band Seventh Rail Crew, which is a pretty big, like, metal hardcore band out of the Boston area. He later drummed for Genuflect, which was fronted by Drew from the band Revley, who did Ozfest. Bill Bracken's been in 5,000 bands. He's our guitarist. Jeff Law, drummer, I think I mentioned that.
Yeah.
So he and I were in a Rage Against the Machine tribute band called Age Against the Machine at one point in time. I played drums for that, though. I didn't front that band.
Okay.
And Jimmy Evangelista was kind of a neck breaker, the muscle for the BCN street team at one point in time. And I loosely knew him back then, just, this linebacker-sized dude in the hallway to say hi to. Never knowing he played bass guitar, and lo and behold, fast forward many years, he's playing bass for us. The dude smokes. Great player. Bill Bracken, probably, arguably, and not in my words, one of the better guitarists in the New England area, maybe beyond. He's got a trophy case of, like, shredder competition trophies. He's incredible.
Nice.
And Jeff's a killer drummer. So it started off, though, as a studio project. Bill and I hanging out in his basement, drinking whiskey, writing songs in the aftermath of another band we were in called Def Dealer, DEF, like Def Jam Records. We thought it was clever at the time.
Yeah, yeah.
And that fizzled out, and we started writing our own stuff. And I was drumming for that old project, too. And I started writing a lot of lyrics for our other vocalists in this band at the time. At one point, I'm like, why am I writing vocals and lyrics for someone else? I should just be the vocalist.
Right.
And it kind of just happened. So from a studio project, the first album, just me and Bill, I'm playing drums on it and doing vocals. He's playing bass and guitar. We start getting all these gig offers, and we decide maybe we'll put a band together. And now we've just released our fourth album.
Wow. Congratulations. Now, the tracks that we're hearing today, are they all from the fourth album?
Yeah, so this is actually the first time we've been signed to a label, too, which has been cool.
Excellent.
Salt of the Earth Records. They're based out of the Connecticut area. Bands like, Scissor Fight, I'm sure. They're from right around where you're at.
Yep.
Scissor Fight's on that label. Kings and Liars, this other band, is kind of members of Dee Snider, his band, Dee Snider from Twisted Sister fame.
Yeah.
Casting Shadows, a bunch of really cool bands. Hero and the Horror. So Salt of the Earth Records put out our album, just came out about a month ago, maybe. Sonic Vandalism, I think I said that. And we're just doing a lot of shows in support of that right now. Album number 4, and we kind of pulled all the stops on it. I definitely feel, I know people will say this, I think it's our best album so far. We kind of hit our stride.
Yeah.
Corey Glover, we get the thumbs up from him of Living Color fame.
Nice.
He's on one of the tracks.
Oh, really?
Which was huge. He's won 2 Grammys, so that was just a little surreal to work with him.
Yeah.
And I think it's a heck of an album in terms of, being a bit eclectic and hitting our nerdy stride.
Right.
There's a lot of bizarre thematic things in there.
Has the sound changed over the years? Because obviously, as you talked about, when you first started out, it was a studio band with just 2 of you, and then it grew from there. Has the sound changed? I would imagine it's evolved in some sense.
I mean, if you go back, the first album, which is just self-titled, we recorded with Jim Foster, who was in this band Dulcet.
Oh yeah.
And the first one is a little angrier and a little more kind of political, I guess. Take whatever message any way you want it, but it's a little angrier.
Yeah.
And it's funny, I look back, my voice was a lot clearer then. Like years and years of doing this, it's just changed my speaking voice.
Yeah.
You know, it's a lot raspier.
Yeah.
So I noticed that. But it's funny. When we first started playing, we kept getting branded as rap rock. You know, like new metal, hip-hop, metal, which I never really felt we were, but there are a lot of tracks that have kind of a hip-hop rhyming cadence or delivery, so I get it at the same point.
Sure.
I just never liked that term. Like, damn it, like there's more, you know, we're doing more than that, but you know, when you get pigeonholed into something, it kind of stinks. But truth be told, I grew up with a lot of crossover bands like, you know, Downset, Biohazard, who all employed hip-hop elements, so I see where that's coming from.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was a fair enough assessment, but our more modern stuff, sure, some of the verses and stuff, I still like to rhyme and all that, but it's a little more songish than it is verse-delivered hip-hop.
Do you still play any of the early material live? Did any of those songs make it into the present iteration of the band?
Yeah, well, yes and no. There's a track, it's kind of become, it was our first track ever written, and it's kind of become a fan favorite for like a heavier song. It's called Back in the Dirt. It's basically about like stopping a lazy bum sitting around doing nothing, whining about it. Like, get up while you still have some life. You know, you're complaining while other people out there are double amputees fighting cancer. I'd listen to some of my friends whining on Facebook about their problems, which amounted to basically nothing. It's like, stop being a total whining loser, get out there and live your life. You know, you're lucky enough to be here.
Right.
And that was our first track. We still play that one. And it's funny, I told this story to someone recently. You write these songs, you never really, I don't know how to explain this. In radio, it was the same way. You do your show, you talk, but you kind of never realize that people are actually listening. You're taking it all in sometimes because you're just in a room by yourself doing your thing.
Right.
Some woman came up to me at a show, and she told me that song in the chorus, and she played it repeatedly, helped her fight and get through cancer. I was like, what?
Wow.
Like, I write these songs like this, never think it's going to reach anyone, especially at some emotional level.
Yeah.
But that, like, hit me, too. I was like, oh, my God. Like, I never would have thought anyone would have received it or used the track as such. So it was very flat. But that's, I think, the only one we still work in the set. A lot of the stuff, I mean, like in any band, you write new material. You want to play all the new stuff because it's new, it's fresh, it's exciting. I mean, we're actually working on album 5 already, but there's one song we play that's on no album. But the new album, Sonic Vandalism, is still very fresh to us. And it's fun to play these tracks to people who haven't heard them yet to see how they come off. And the reception's been very good so far.
Excellent. And how did that come about, you signing with Salt of the Earth? Because, you know, the music business has changed so much, and, you know, you've got various options in terms of how you want to market and promote your music, whether you sign with a label, whether you do it on your own, and all that. How did that come about, signing with that label?
Truth be told, if I had to hand the blame or the credit to one person, this guy Dwayne Eldridge, Battle Jacket is his nickname. This guy from Connecticut.
Okay.
He was the scene down there is great, and a lot of the bands around this area, Central Mass as well. We network and hang out with a lot of these bands. This guy reached out to us. There used to be this club in, of all places, Jewett City, Connecticut, like in the middle of nowhere. I actually have some family from there, but there was this hole-in-the-wall club we'd play, and the place was awesome. Like, people would be so supportive of bands. They would show up, stay to the end. This guy gave us a chance, brought us onto this, some show. It was like a 2-room festival thing. And he was like, listen, I'll give you guys a chance in the show, but you're going in the second stage, second room on first. It's like, oh, crap. I'm like, you got to pay your dues.
Yep.
We thought it was going to be this, we'll do the show and maybe it'll give us something better next time. We got there early. There were a ton of people. We sold so many shirts and CDs. It was incredible. And through that, playing shows down there, we got to know Scott Harrington and Christy, his wife, who runs Salt of the Earth Records. They saw us a bunch of times. They were fans. They have kids, like very young kids who were fans too. So we just started getting to know them. And at first I didn't even know he ran a label.
Yeah.
And it turns out he runs Salt of the Earth Records. We almost did our last album with him as well, but he just had too much on his plate doing a release from other friends of ours, Dead by Wednesday, who we're playing with tomorrow, in fact, in New Bedford with the band Taproot. And a couple other releases, Scissor Fight being one. So that's the long short of it.
Dead by Wednesday. That's a name I haven't heard in a while, but very familiar with them. Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, they're still around. They put out an album recently. It's awesome.
Oh, I'll have to check that out. I had them years ago when I was booking shows here in Manchester. I had them up for, oh, wow, that was, geez, I don't even want to think about how long ago that was now that I'm thinking about it. But
right. You and me, yeah. Oh.
It was a long time ago. So you guys, I assume you're playing a lot. You're doing a lot of shows to support the new album?
Yeah, we're a pretty busy band. We got and things have been getting better and better fast.
Good.
We played not that long ago with Living Color in Burlington, Vermont. We're actually going to be playing with them on January 28th at the Angel City Music Hall.
Oh, right.
Right in Manchester.
Right up
We're
the street.
opening for Living Color, which is like, come on. Like, again, they won 2 Grammys. Wow. They sold like 4 million albums. Yep. And they're kick-ass. So,
yeah.
And then tomorrow, like I said, the Vault in New Bedford with our friends in Dead by Wednesday. And this band, Lydia's Castle, it's John Wisocki, the drummer from Stained, former drummer from Stained, his new band from Nashville. And a couple others, I believe. So that's a killer club, the Vault in New Bedford. And we have a big show on the horizon with Scissor Fight in Vermont, and then down in Rhode Island. We play all over New England quite frequently, a couple times a month.
Yeah.
So it's been good. It's been consistent.
Excellent. And I imagine the live show is pretty high energy. How long do you guys play for? Do you do like a full?
It depends. I mean, some of these mega bills, you'll get anywhere from like a 30-minute set to an hour set usually.
Yeah.
And on all these, like, if you have 20 bands and they're all high energy or loud and fast and aggressive, like, there's only so much the audience can take, I think.
Right.
Which we're usually, I don't know how to put this, we're usually one of the lighter bands, let's call it, because we'll get filled with all these, like, blast beat, black metal, death metal bands, some of them.
Yeah.
And I love that stuff.
Yeah.
But we, time and time again, we'll get the comment like, oh, you guys were a welcome pace changer in the set. Just having a very different style, but it's still heavy. There's still, I heard you guys talking about Van Halen earlier. There's all these throwback elements too. Bill Bracken, our guitarist, huge Van Halen fan. Mm-hmm. He owns the Eddie Van Halen with the 5150 whatever guitar that's signed, like an actual model from Eddie. He's like obsessed.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So it's I don't know what I'm getting at here, but we're definitely a melting pot of many things in terms of influences, and all of us being kind of slightly different ages too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And what about, I'm curious about your drummer. I've noticed a trend on the show recently when I'm talking to bands. It seems like everyone's drummer these days is in multiple bands. So I'm curious if Jeff Lawn, El Jefe, I see is his nickname on the website.
Yeah.
Is he in like 10 other bands, or is he, or does
Well, being a drummer myself, this is the only band I've ever fronted. I've played drums in bands forever, longer than I care to admit.
Oh, no kidding. Oh.
Yeah, so... but yeah, drummers, especially ones that are competent, or never mind ones that are really good, are in high demand.
Yep.
Even more in demand are good bass players. So if you're out there and contemplating playing an instrument, pick up the bass.
Yep.
Like every band needs a good bassist. They're really hard to find. Everyone plays guitar.
There's
1,000 good guitarists. There's a couple great ones, and there's a ton of lousy ones. But Jeff, he does play in another band called the Grizzly Dan Band.
Okay. Yeah.
But Inverter usually is, luckily for us, scheduling kind of his priority, even though he makes good money with that other band, because they're more like a cover band. They play like bar gigs and stuff. They're really good.
Yeah.
But luckily for us, his allegiance seems to be, the majority of it, with Inverter.
Excellent. Oh, that's good to hear. And yeah, bass players too, you're right, are tend to be in high demand. I'm a bass player, and geez, I was playing in multiple bands at once back when I used to play, when I was really, heavy in the scene. But yeah, I think with bass players, you're right. Everyone wants to play guitar. You get more glory that way. And I think with drummers, my theory has always been that when you're growing up and you're getting interested in playing a musical instrument, well, because you are also a drummer. You got to have that conversation with your parents at some point about, I want to learn to play this or that. And then if you wanted to play drums, you got to kind of talk them into letting you bring a drum set into the house and make a lot of noise.
Yeah, a favorite of kids, not a favorite of parents. When I first started drumming, my parents basically wouldn't let me until I reached an agreement with them. I said, listen, if I save up my own money mowing lawns and all this other crap and shoveling driveways, I'm going to buy my own drum set. And they're like, okay, if you do that, sure. I did. I've been playing forever.
Um,
So it's but again, bass players, the toughest to find. We lucked out big time. Jimmy E, as we call him, he holds down the low end very nicely. He's a great presence on the stage. The dude's hilarious. And a total team player. We see all these bands we've played with over the years. Some of them just keep falling apart because they don't get along. They argue over stupid things. Or someone in the band's got a drug problem or whatever.
Yep.
Luckily, knock on wood, we've had no problems, and we've been together 7 or so years.
Oh, that's good. That's excellent. And by the way, I was reading in your bio, so you not only did you work at WBCN, but you were also an HGTV host?
Yeah, I was. I did a show called Tiny House Builders for a season.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It was an interesting experience, kind of a nightmare, to be honest. But,
what was it really? Why? I'm curious.
It was so tolling physically, and they didn't know what they were doing. And I told them, we need more people. We need more time to build all these things. And they, it was tough. But it was fun because we got to do some traveling and spend a ton of their money. And I still build a lot of the tree houses and crazy structures, custom build them for people and design them for a living.
Oh, wow.
I teach workshops about building construction and kind of alternative design all around the U.S. We even did a couple recently, my brother and I, in Australia, Tasmania. So I go all over the place doing that stuff. In fact, I've authored several books for a publisher, and one of them right now that's due in about a month is based on tree houses.
Oh, no kidding.
So it all comes kind of full circle. If only I could combine metal and tree houses or whatever.
Right.
I'd be a happy man. Or if I could extend the 24-hour day to 48, I could get more done.
Yeah, I think we all have that problem. I can relate to that.
Oh, yeah.
No, that's really cool, though. So you've written now the books that you've written about this. I assume it's under the name Derek Diedricksen, or I don't know if you use
I go by or Deek. Even in the building design scene, I go by Deek. I have a couple of YouTube channels, one of which is fairly large. I got about 230,000 subscribers, and so I do 10 or 11 things that all culminate as a job and a half for a living, but they're all hobby jobs, let's call them. Stuff I love doing anyway. I do a lot of custom artwork and design. I have an Instagram page, which is just Deek, Diedricksen Art. I just started for all my graffiti and artwork, stuff like that.
Oh, very cool.
When we play live, we get a couple stage props we use that are kind of street art I've done, these big stand-up creature things.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So some people have compared us to White Zombie. That's another one. They're talking about dance metal and groove and all that. And truth be told, when Lost Exorcisto from White Zombie came out, I ate that album up. Yeah. I just loved it. So even the artwork tie, and I'm like, okay, it's fair enough. Static X, White Zombie, those are frequent comparisons.
Yeah. No, that's those are you'll take those, right? I mean, those are that puts you in good company.
Oh yeah,
that puts you in very good company.
Well, they're both bands again. To use the term over and over, they both have groove.
Yep.
They have that lock. A band like Pantera wasn't just about thrash beats.
Right.
Vinnie Paul on drums really had that groove to things, and that's why I love them, and I think they did well with big beats. And Jeff brings that every time, so it works out nicely.
And by the way, so what did you do at WBCN? Were you an on-air personality, or?
Yeah, so I was from 7 to midnight. I was just an on-air DJ for about 7 years.
Yeah.
And it was fun. I mean, I didn't grow up in the area, so it's one of those oh my God, you worked at WBCN. A name fewer remember now since they're gone.
Sure.
But it's having not grown up here, it wasn't as big a thing to me. But, later I quickly realized how important that station was to Boston, how legendary it was. It broke U2. They broke the Cars. Quite a few big bands that really helped at the Dropkick Murphys. And on and on. And it was fun. I mean, I got to interview everyone from, James Hetfield to, the guys in Green Day to, in that era from the late 90s to about 2006, any band that came out then, I probably interviewed most of them.
Oh.
And Taproot, who we're playing with, it's funny. I interviewed them about 3 or 4 times. So
no kidding.
I know at least ahead of time. We haven't played with them yet. I know they're at least very nice guys.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Very good. Very good. Wow, you got a lot going on. That's fantastic. But really glad to see. Like I said, I love the tunes. I think what you're doing is amazing, and definitely want to.
Thank you.
Definitely want to catch you live in the future. And by the way,
let us know, man. Let us know.
Yeah, definitely. By the way, what does the name mean? Is there any meaning behind the name Inverter?
No, a lot of people ask that, and I could give you stories upon stories upon the song. So the name, anytime you're in a band, and you've been in bands, like to come up with a name, it just sometimes comes down to something that sounds cool.
Yeah.
And I want something that had a little bit of a technical, nerdy, almost industrial edge. Inverter being like a solar, inverter, in electronics, wiring, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's just easy enough to remember. And it was the only, and I mean the only name that all four of us didn't hate.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, there were a lot. I can't remember some of the other names now. There were so many. Actually, just two of us. It was Bill and I, because at the time there really was no band. The first CD was just two of us.
Oh, yeah.
But him and I had completely different ideas and song names, and it came down to Inverter. It's kind of that hard consonant edge.
Yeah.
It almost sounds German, like Inverter.
There you go.
Sharp-edged word.
Yeah.
And that's basically, I wish there was I should make up some cooler story to it. But that's all it is.
Yeah. No, it's cool. I like it. It's definitely a good name. Well, Deek, we're going to let you go in a minute, and I'm going to play, after we let you go, I'm going to play next Stone Cold Shocker. That's my personal favorite of the ones that you sent us, and then we'll play a third track, of course,
cool.
at the end of the show today. But, I love...
Yeah, not that...
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say, not that bands release, so to speak, singles anymore, but that's kind of the song that we're going to work on a video for soon and all that. It's kind of like the single, if a label were to send it out the one song.
Yeah.
And it's the song that everybody, when we played it live before the album was out, everybody caught on to that chorus really quickly.
Yeah.
And that's how we kind of knew, this is the song. Those are my attack dogs. Don't mind them.
I was going to say, are you all right? It sounded like something
my leg.
It sounded like something just tried to devour you.
No. Someone's arriving at the house, and I got a couple dogs who are quite loud.
Oh, I see. Yeah, no worries. I do love this track. So we're going to play this in a second. And then, so do you want to just remind us, too, about the show that you've got coming up, the show with Taproot? Is that this weekend?
Yeah, it's tomorrow, actually. So it's a Thursday show. Taproot's playing at the Vault in New Bedford.
Oh, yeah.
With Dead by Wednesday and Lydia's Castle. And I think that same tour, the next night's coming up to Wally's in New Hampshire, near you guys. But anyone who's in between, come down to the Vault one.
Yeah.
We're going out. It's one of those weekday shows, so it starts on the earlier side. I think we're on at 7.
Okay.
We're maybe the second band on earlier, but we'll be doing our thing and going full throttle. And the Vault in New Bedford's an amazing club. It's a former, back in the days of fancy banks with the big vaults and marble floors and chandeliers. They took a huge city bank and converted it into a club.
Oh, that's cool.
So it's one of my favorite venues. We haven't played in there a while, and Taproot's awesome. So
yeah,
that's tomorrow. I believe doors at 7, and we're on shortly out, or doors at 6:30. We're on at 7:15 or something.
Okay, very good. And also, too, before you go, Deek, just so our listeners know, where's the best place to go to find you online in terms of a website or social media, so everybody can keep up with what you're doing?
Inverterband.com is the website. Inverter Boston on Facebook. We have TikTok stuff. You name it. Facebook. I mentioned Facebook already. But if there's any social media format for music, we're on it. We got YouTube videos, a lot of official music videos we filmed.
Cool.
And just about everywhere.
Excellent.
Anywhere fine recordings are found.
Yes. All right. Very good. Well, Deek, thank you so much. Have a great show tomorrow night. I love the tracks. We're going to play Stone Cold Shocker in a second, but we'll let you get going. But thank you so much for joining us today, man. This has been great, and I'm sure we'll talk again soon.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it so much. Take care now.
All right. You got it. Take care. Bye-bye. All right. Very nice. That was Deek from the band Inverter. And he mentioned Wally's. You're very familiar with Wally's there.
Spent the whole summer there.
That's right.
Every Monday.
All right. Well, let's like I said, this is my favorite track, and apparently from what Deek was saying, this is everybody's favorite track. So let's give this a listen, and then we'll come back with some more show. This is the track is called Stone Cold Shocker. The band is Inverter. Check this out.
devil gamma repercussions, same discussions on concussions like a game of hide and seek, open a minefield. She's explosive, corrosive, don't care how you feel. That evil woman, she's got your car. She'll laugh as you drown while you're getting hard.